trade Monday morning, February 2nd. Let's take a look at this. First of all, if you want to follow along with DTI, make sure you go to dtitrader.com/telegram. And to review our presentations, go to dtitrader.com/YouTube and welcome into our YouTube audience. Now, our risk disclaimer, let's go ahead and get this taken care of. There is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. You and you alone are responsible for all the decisions you make, and by the way, also the decisions you don't. So all of your decisions are your responsibility. Past performance is not indicative of future results. And let's go ahead and hit some of the news items out there. Some of the news shaping the market. We are currently in a government shutdown. Vote will be as early as Tuesday. When we left over the weekend, we thought it might be as early as today. But it's going to be interesting. So we'll see if Speaker Johnson can get a vote done by Tuesday. We have earnings this week in both tech. We have some of the Mag 7 left. I think Google is coming out. Amazon. Is it Amazon? I know Google is, but we got some good earnings. And then pharma, for those of you who really like pharmaceuticals, a lot of the big pharma companies coming out reporting earnings this week. And the big thing is we have a new first 3 days. The first 3 days of February. We know what the first 3 days of the year looked like. Now we'll get the next set first 3 days of February, which already I think are outside of the range of the first 3 days of January, and we're only on day one. So kind of redefining this market. So let's go ahead and bring in Tom Busby and see what opinion he has on this market as we step forward. So let's go ahead and click to that next slide. Tom, what's your opinion today?
Well, it's like I told people last night. I think you've got to give the market a little room. And I mean, just take for example, silver. Silver is, if you look at its high and low, you look at silver futures high and low, it's been as high as $88 an ounce and as low as $71, currently about 76. SLV, one of our favorite tickers, has been as high as 75 roughly and 68. And that's just pretty wild is what I'm saying. So that's a lot of downside momentum. If you think about it, you got to give it time. Anytime you see that that kind of 37% drop like you said that you saw, you just got to be careful. And there's a lot of opportunity there. And we're going to talk about that at 1 o'clock when we meet with the Silver Wheel people. Okay. And these are the ways that you do things um, when you have what I would call a once every 50-year event, because the last time it happened was 1980, and well, 45 years if you count to be exact, when you had this kind of wildness. But it will set up beautiful trades. I mean, probably no better market will be the SLV market after you get past about 5 to 10 days, I think. Now, the stock market itself went down last night. Chuck, you made evidence that 68.60, which is down the low of February, right? 68.60 area, and it went up this morning. Where did it stop? Right at that 7,007 number that we traded a couple times. Okay, so it's 69.92. It's on Monday, and this is where you don't want to jump to conclusions till we get the 3 day algo built out. And if you've been with me for a long time, you know I go real slow during this time period. Hands, just waiting. I'm doing a one-on-one today, and we're doing a lot of education because right now you just gotta be very, very careful in an environment like this. That's my opinion. My pivot number 69.38. That was the opening. And here's a rule that I was telling David. I said, David, notice I don't trade anything unless it's above its daily open. And so if I was looking at the mini day, 69.38, and I'm looking here, we had a positive reference bar, I could have traded it. That's an example. Uh, The next reference bar will take over be Genesis. But I look at Apple. Apple's at 260. If I was going to reference bar trade it, notice I say reference bar instead of position trade it. Then I'd have to be long today because it's trading. Apple's trading at what 263. And you can go through and check these things out based on their opening price, and it really gives you a intuitive feel for what way you should be. I told Davis morning, look at silver. It's coming up to last night's opening, which was 84, went right to it and then sold off like they couldn't get rid of it fast enough. These opening prices are very important. So make note, know the opening price of anything you're trading. That's my opinion. This is our weekly newsletter. It'll be coming out this afternoon. It'll be a doozy because I think there's a lot of what I would call special opportunities in this kind of market. If you're not a member, become a member. You'll get your first copy this afternoon. Welcome to Train and Trade. We meet every day at 11 o'clock, and I think it's pretty nice to get together and be able to share with you some of the experience I've had over the years. It might make you some money. It might save you some money. That's the beautiful thing about it, because you see different things. Talking trade, that's my 24-hour trade this morning. You'll note that I guess for the first time in a long time, at the start of the month, I put a couple numbers in there, QQQ and SPY, that I'd go short today if that happened, if the reference bar is in play. Notice the QQQ though, here's an example where how you use it. Since the QQQ today opened at 618, we're trading 626. I'm not going short that. Everybody understand the difference by knowing that opening price versus what I thought this morning at 5 when I posted the QQQ and the SPY? Yeah. Know where the opening price is for anything. Okay. This is Jonathan's section right here. The first 3 days. Jonathan, take it away. Everybody can learn something by listening.
We're going to update this for the first time of the new month. First time new month. Thanks, Tom. Let me get the month open posted here. Kind of teach you how this is built as we go along, because it is during the first 3 days. There's no rush on the first 3 trade days of the new month. There's no rush for us, excuse me. We want to make note mentally and on paper of what the open of the month is to begin with. And there you have it. Make that more visible here. 69.38 is the open of the month on the S&P futures, and we're trading at 69.97, so off to a good start. 25.530 on the NASDAQ, 48.864 on the Dow, 64.72 on crude oil, 48.16 on gold, 84.31 on silver, 114.30 on bonds, 77,730 on Bitcoin. A few notes if you weren't aware, Bitcoin's now trading February contract, gold's now trading the April contract. Let's go grab the last traded price. Posted here under current price. You can see a column here for FTD high. That stands for first 3 days. What we do every month at DTI, we track the market during the first 3 trade days of the new month. And that works out well this month because it's just a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to start the week. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week will be the first 3 trade days of the month. From those 3 trade days, we can mark the highest high that it makes. Okay, so far, if I just copy these numbers over, so far the S&P has been up to 7,005.5, and it's been down to 68.64.5. Now, it may work out to where that's the high and low of the first 3 days, although I'd say it's unlikely, right? Over the next day or 2, we might make another high, or we might make another low. But after 3 days is done, we'll take the highest of the 3 daily highs and we'll put it here in the FTD high column. We'll take the lowest of the 3 daily lows and we'll put it here in the FTD low column. Then we'll have a very good framework for the, work with for the rest of the month. And the goal is, if I scroll over here, way over here, I keep these way over here during the first 3 days so you don't have any confusion. But when we go throughout the month, if we get the S&P or one of our stocks above the high from the first 3 days, the box in that column will light up green and it will say short. Or vice versa, if we have something that is below the low from the first 3 days, this box might light up red and say short. So green long over here, red short over here. Green long over here above the FTD high, red short over here if the stock is below the FTD low. And I'll move those columns over once we get past the first 3 days. And so there's a little bit more clarity. I'm just going to call this day one high right now and day one low. Over here to the right, I'll probably have individual columns for each of the 3 first days. And from those columns, I'll be able to, tomorrow I'll be able to put, for instance, 2-day high. And then during the day on Wednesday, I'll put 3-day high. All right. But after Wednesday, we'll have, once again, the official first 3 days highs in place. And of course, if you think about this, after the first 3 days are completed at the close on Wednesday, we're going to have an official FTD high and low set. And at that point, you won't see these numbers in the FTD high and low column change anymore for the rest of February. All right.
Right. And Jonathan, you're going to record the January high, January low. The reason we do that because we look at it also on a monthly basis. If we make a new high in January, we need to know that in February, which tells us this trends continue. Or if we make a new low in February, below January low, it might be a warning sign that the market's not going up. So those are kind of things that we keep in the sheet. And the beautiful thing that Jonathan's put together is that he updates this. All you need is the link, and then you get the spreadsheet every day. And you update just every day by 11, right, Jonathan? Is that usually what you do?
Yeah, when we go live, Tom, I usually just go ahead and update it. Sometimes I update it in the morning time after the cash open. So maybe twice a day I'll update it.
This is very valuable. And here's the real motivation for having this sheet. Jonathan, for the last 5 years, if you'd followed the breakout of the 3-day algo, what was the percentage that ticker stayed positive for the month?
It's pretty remarkable. It's about, we found with the SPY, the SPY, S&P 500 ETF, one of them, about 87% of the time, if we can get the SPY to open above its 3-day high, it has an 87% chance from our study to finish the month positive. So
you can go read every book out there. You can go do anything. But if you follow the 3-day algo from DTI, you got an 87% likely outcome on any ticker that you look at. I mean, that's incredible to have that each month. That's why these hands, why trade with lower odds when I can trade with higher odds after the 3 days? Does everybody understand my thinking? Because I'm all about the odds. If the odds are in my favor, I'm going to take the trade. That's what you should do when the odds are in your favor. But anyway, I wanted to really make a point. What I did, Jonathan, you set my 3-day ticker under my favorites, right? That's how I get it. You might explain that to everybody.
Yeah, and first of all, the link's not going to change for the remainder of the year. I always make a copy of each month, so I have that for my own records. And if you want that, you can email me for it. But the link won't change. We just update it for the new month. So this is the same link you had last month. It's the same link. It'll be for this month. It'll be the same link next month. But what we recommend is, when you click on that link in the chat, it should open up a web browser for you, or you should be able to copy the link and, open it up in a web browser. I'm using Google Chrome. Every web browser, though, allows you to bookmark it, favorite it. Just click that little star at the top, usually towards the top right of the web page, and it opens it up as a bookmark. Okay.
Sorry, you get it.
And hopefully you can hear me. It opens up as a bookmark, and you can see your bookmarks are usually right at the top of your page. I got tons of them. Where exactly that one is, I don't know, but you'd want to make it, clear right here under your main bookmarks. If you have a lot of bookmarks like I do, Joanne, you can right click on the bookmarks bar somewhere and you can add a folder and you can name it, DTI research or, stock research, whatever you want to do. Add a folder, and then when you're bookmarking pages, you can drop them into that specific folder. So it's really neat, really simple. Might be brand new to some, but I'm sure if you've used it before, you probably use it all the time. So make sure you do that with this spreadsheet, but whatever other resource that you want to use. And Tom, I'll get the January high and lows. That's part of my progress for the rest of the day. Get those enters, but there you see the S&P 7043 is the high from last month.
I just wanted to tell how valuable this sheet is to what we do. And we give it to everybody for free because I want you to learn this stuff. And let me give you another little stat. Today is Monday. If you start looking at Monday's high above the 3-day for that week, you got something in play. And what I mean by in play, the odds just won really strong that week. It's going to put on the dog and make you smile. So that's why Mondays for me is usually I look at things, maybe late Monday afternoon, I'll start trading. But generally speaking, I'm sort of in the analysis stage right now because look, despite what I think, I'm going to trade what the numbers tell me to trade. And look at the difference. Where you got a great strategy, but the strategy uh, on Friday uh, with the 37% drop, I told everybody, I said, get out of here. We'll get back in. And I said, if you keep if you own stock in the metals, you ought to sell covered calls. And if you really want to protect yourself, I would buy maybe a 10-day put. That's called a married put against holding a silver position. You'd be surprised how good that strategy is during these times of turmoil if you want to hold on to something. The married put strategy, where you got some protection, because nobody can tell you how high it's going to go or how low it's going to go. You can have educated guesses, but we're in the business of following the numbers.
And Tom, I was looking actually, one of our slides today is resources, and your first book we make available to everybody. And I was reading through the chapters. It's really neat what we have here, just chapter by chapter on an audio format. Works out great. If you're driving down the road or, doing some yard work or whatever, however you like to listen to this. Well, listen to the Tom's first book. And if you look through here, one of the chapters, this one's funny since you're in Eastern time now, but it's all about the importance of time, chapter 2. But what I want to make a point of is this chapter right down here, chapter 7, mimics what you just said. You worry about your risk first, and rewards will come. That's kind of the same framework of what Tom was just saying. You got to worry about risk always, and rewards will come a good process. Yep. So have a listen to that first book of Tom's, Winning the Day Trading Game, although it's not about day trading, even though it's named that. There's day trading strategies in there, but
while he needed that to sell more books, it's really more comprehensive than just day trading.
It's a lot more comprehensive than that. We have the DTI white paper booklet here. Just a simple Google document. You can read about the 7 sisters, S&P, Dow, NASDAQ futures, and so on. You can read about our reference bars, right? Going to be critical to understanding the time of day and how to take advantage of intraday trading timing. Not just for intraday trading, but at some point, if you're looking to buy a stock for the long term, you gotta buy it sometime, right? You're buying it sometime during the day, and that'll help your timing for entries. Tom gives a pivot every single day. Where's a DTI pivots white paper, so you can learn basics of how to use Tom's pivot, key terms, setting up the week, and a few more. But the top three are critical here to understanding the methodology that we use each and every day. Chuck's already mentioned the YouTube page, but you can click there. It's also dtitrader.com/YouTube. We're live right now. We're live every day at 11 for Train and Trade. And if you go to that YouTube page, if you miss a session, if you go to the YouTube page and click on the live tab, there's an actual tab that says live. You'll be able to find past recordings. And then kind of an underrated document there, probably for new folks, is important terms to know. We'll teach you all the, that the lingo we use for text message services and whatnot. Great little resource document there. So here's 5 good resources if you include the first 3 days spreadsheet on the slide before it. 5 great resources for you. Just take and study, maybe on some downtime during the week, during these first 3 days when there's not much.
Hey, Jonathan, you ought to put on there the optionplaybook.com for people new to options. Okay.
That's a great resource. It's good to note it's not DTI resource, but it's also another great resource.
I think it's, yeah. Hey, look, you get it where you can. And I just told David here he needs to get that book to clear up the fog about options. Thank you, Art. Right, Corby.
That webpage is optionsplaybook.com. Excuse me, optionsplaybook.com. Fantastic resource. No affiliation here at DTI, but one we hand out all the time because it's just that good. Completely free website, or you can purchase their book, have a hard copy.
If I was new to options, I'd get a hard copy. I used to keep it in my office for students that would have trouble. And I said, read this and then come back and ask me about how to sell covered calls. It's really good.
All right, Tom, let's answer a few questions about Orion. Question 1 is for all you experienced traders out there. Why do we feel like you should use Orion? And our answer, Tom, we were talking about this earlier. Really, in a fast-moving market, advanced traders like Tom and maybe some of you out there, you're doing a lot. You're not just trading one asset. You're probably, scouting the markets for whatever's moving that day. Well, Orion's going to find that for you with world-class non-biased setups. If the market's moving, right, on a very specific market, it's going to find it. If it's not moving, it's not going to get you into a trade. And that's the advantage of Orion. Next question, of course, we covered advanced. What about beginner option traders? Well, one of the things when you're a beginner is it's really hard to fix kind of what you learn initially, right? So getting off on the right foot is very, very important if you're new to learning the markets. And of course, we're a little biased here, but if you stay here long enough and just get a quick introduction to how we view the markets, it's pretty phenomenal with the reference bars in our opinion. And we want you to get off on the right foot. And Orion incorporates those reference bars each and every day to find high odds trades. So we want you to trade when the odds are more in your favor. It's a better learning process that way. And that's the advantage of Orion if you're brand new, even if you're brand new to trading options. That's the advantage of Orion. It brings us to question number 3, which is what are the biggest benefit of Orion to any trader? And that's what you're here for, is get a benefit about being here. And the good thing about Orion is it teaches an option strategy. Now, we focus on a very specific market, but the strategy itself that Tom has come up with over his years of trading, any ticker that offers strikes, option strikes that are one wide, the strategy that we use in Orion can be applied to that other, stock. So in terms of what's the biggest benefit of Orion, well, if you want to get past kind of Orion itself, and the trades that it gives you, you can use that same strategy on other tickers. So you're not just limited to one ticker trading out there. Everybody's got a big trade day where we don't know what you're doing during the day. You stay busy. We're thankful you're here, but on a daily basis, you might have a doctor's appointment. You might be still working. So obviously your schedule's jam-packed. But when does Orion check the metrics to issue a trade? When you should expect Orion to search for a trade for you? And it's after 12 p.m. Eastern time every day. So after 12 p.m., there's 4 hours left in the trade day. That's when Orion's working to find an opportunity for you between 12 and 4 every single day. The great thing about between 12 and 4 is the direction for the day generally becomes more clear every day. We call that our Genesis insight, which you'll certainly learn about more you are here every day in Train and Trade. And finally, number 5, what does a trade look like when Orion issues one? Well, we had a trade from Friday, short trade, of course, and it usually doesn't pay as quickly as it did Friday. It ended up being a day trade. It's not meant to be a day trade, but hey, when the market pays us that quick, you're not going to ask any questions. You're going to book your profit, move on down the road. That was what a trade looked like on Friday. So you can kind of see there we target the QQQ, but once again, the strategy that's used really can be used to target any other option as long as there's one wide spreads. And if you're ready to get on board now, you can go to dtitrader.com/Orion, Tom, or we have a video we can play in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I would listen to that video because it tells you so much more. But we wanted to give you an overview because this is I love it because you get busy and all of a sudden you see the market moving. You can go to the Orion Telegram website and it tells you if it fits the criteria, and you can stop right there, save you so much time because of the way it does it. This is something that we put together and we've done it. I've done it discretionary, all the strategy and all the metrics in here. I've done it discretionary for multi-years. I said, let's program it, and we're just giving you the keys right here. So it's a great program, okay, for people to be part of. And anyway, great. I think the questions really hit home, Jonathan. I thought that was really good. Okay. So folks, anybody got any questions before we play the podcast, I guess you call it, or whatever you call it, on Orion? Anybody got any other questions they want to ask?